Good evening to all. Welcome to the session. This session is all about 200 grammar rules. If you ask me, are they easy? My answer will be yes, they are easy. They are not that difficult. And as I said, this is all about 200 grammar rules. And at the outset, it looks like very daunting. Oh, 200 rules we have to learn. But nothing to worry. Today, I'm not going to teach all the 200 rules. I will be teaching four of them every day. Four rules every day. Then what happens? Is it on the session? Huh. Let me start afresh. Good evening to all. Welcome to the session. This session is all about 200 grammar rules. At the outset, 200 rules. You may wonder, I have to learn 200 rules. Are they easy? First question. Second question, how to learn? Third question, how to remember? And fourth question, how to master? At the outset, nothing to worry. 200 rules, though they look a little daunting, I'm not going to teach all the 200 today. You're not going to learn all the 200 today. I'm going to teach only four today. I'll tell the plan. Every day, four grammar rules, and Monday to Friday, 4 into 5, 20, and 4 weeks, 20 into 4, 80. Total 200. It may take about 2.5 months. You're going to learn in a systematic way, no pressure whatsoever. Simultaneously, you're going to work on questions from previous year's papers. There also, you learn a lot of rules. Now, let us go to the basic question: what is grammar? Every language has grammar. What is this grammar? There are two definitions I have brought for you people. You understand? Fine. You don't understand? Then also it is fine. It doesn't matter. What is English grammar? What is grammar? The study of the rules about how words change their form and combine with other words to make sentences. One definition. This is not that important. The study of the way the sentences of a language are constructed. Any language has sentences and sentence patterns, and we cannot construct the way we like based on our whims and fancies. There are certain rules, and based on those rules, we have to make the sentences or form the sentences. That is what precisely we call grammar. Now, the $1,000,000 question: why should you learn rules? Why should you learn? When it comes to competitive exams, English section, many questions are based on grammar rules and exceptions. English has rules, English has exceptions, and common errors. Rules and exceptions 80% and common errors 20%. So, because you ask a lot of questions based on rules, you have to learn rules. There is no choice. It is like Hobson's choice. Second question: how should you learn rules? First, you should learn the concepts, then, you should learn the rules. Your approach should be systematic, and you should learn rules based on individual topics. Initially, learn individual topics, the concepts, and the rules. Then, after completing all the topics, there are about 16 to 17 topics. Then, all the rules together, shuffle everything and try to work on the rules. That will help in consolidation. The next question, this is the most important question: how many rules should you learn? There are about 500 rules. Don't get scared and nothing to worry. You should learn about 200 to 300 rules from competitive exams point of view. For competitive exams or from competitive exams point of view. That is the reason why I have given the title 200 grammar rules. But there are about 500 rules. It's always better to have the competitive edge. And based on that, slowly I will take you level 1, level 2, level 3. Then it is foolproof. Now comes the question. Learning is not an issue, major problem for many language learners and the candidates over here. They're all brilliant, intelligent, diligent, and highly motivated. But the problem is, this is like introduction. Please listen very carefully. The problem is they have to learn a lot: quant, reasoning, English, current affairs. So much is there to learn. English also, so much is there to learn. Then what happens? There's a saying in English. What is it? Too good is too bad. Too much of learning, then you cannot remember. And eventually, what happens? You may forget a lot of things. And the most important thing, I always tell my students, consolidation is the key. When it comes to competitive exams, do remember consolidation of your knowledge is very important. You keep on learning, then you cannot remember. You have to learn, read, revise, consolidate, practice, then you're ready for the exam. Now, to answer this question, how can you master rules? It is not what you know that matters, but how fast you can choose the correct option that matters. Now, you may know a lot of rules, but at the time of the exam, imagine you see a question quickly, just like that. You cannot spot the error. Then, what is the use of your knowledge? What matters? Speed, accuracy. Within no time, you should be able to spot the error. Imagine you know about, yes, I will do that. Please listen to this. Imagine you have learned 200 rules, but you haven't practiced enough. Then in the exam, you cannot spot the error. So, how to master? I'm going to give, there are 5 steps. These steps are very important because it's the first session. I'm doing all this, and I'm going to, next session, I'm not going to talk about these aspects. Straight away, we'll go to rules. So, how can you master rules? Constantly, you have to ask yourself this question: how can I master 200 rules? Master means what? Every rule should be at your fingertips, to use an idiomatic expression. Every rule should be at your fingertips. That means what? When you read a particular sentence, next second, one reading, no second reading, one reading, you should be able to spot the error. Then, if you ask me, sir, is it possible? Can we reach that stage where one reading we can spot the error? My answer, emphatic answer, yes, you can reach that stage provided you follow the 5 steps. What is the first step? Learn the concepts. Now, let me tell you something interesting. If you go to the UK, if you go to the US, what is the language? Mother tongue, English. But you'll be surprised and shocked to know many Americans are not good at English grammar. Many Britishers are not good at English grammar. What is the reason? Grammar, because I teach grammar, I don't want to say it is a boring subject. It is not that interesting. It is a little dry. So it is not easy to understand. Again, when it comes to core grammar, it is a bit difficult to comprehend, and you got to be a little intelligent based on concepts. So, the first and foremost, you have to learn the concepts. And these concepts you got to learn in such a way that there should not be any ambiguity whatsoever. Everything should be crystal clear. The concept should be crystal clear, the first step. What is the second step? Learn the rules. Once you learn the concept, focus on rules, learn the rules. The third one, practice all the rules, initially topic wise, later all topics shuffled. Initially topic wise, noun related rules, pronoun related rules, that way. Then all the topics together, shuffle everything and try to practice all the rules. The fourth step, take mock test for consolidation. Learn, practice, and take mock test, consolidate your knowledge. Fifth one is very important. Many students neglect this one. What is that? Any competitive exam, do remember, before you take the exam, whichever exam for that matter, you have to see the previous year's papers, and you have to ask yourself, can I do these questions? Can I answer these questions? Do I have those standards? When you practice previous year's papers, you become, something develops. What is that? Familiarity. All the questions become familiar, and when you analyze all the questions, let us say 5 years or 10 years, what happens? You get an idea. Oh, this is how they ask questions about nouns, this is how they ask questions about tenses. That awareness is very important, and that matters a lot. Now, where are the 200 rules? You should ask the question. So, where do we find the 200 rules? Parts of speech, you may have to learn about 100 there itself. Articles, tenses, tags, question tags, passive voice, active voice, passive voice, narration, direct speech, indirect speech, conditionals, sentences, concord, parallel expression, redundancy, and common errors. Here you find all the 200 or 500 rules. Now let us go to rule number one. I know you have been eagerly waiting for this. This session is all about 200 rules, and let us start with rule number one, an easy one. What is rule number one? Today I'm going to give four rules, all the four rules related to nouns. Parts of speech, we usually start with nouns. When it comes to proper nouns, the first letter of a proper noun should be a capital letter, irrespective of its position in a sentence. I repeat, whenever you use a proper noun in a sentence, do remember the first letter of a proper noun should be a capital letter, irrespective of its position in the sentence. Look at the examples. Rohit is a student. Here, the first word is Rohit, a proper noun, name of a person. R capital letter. I met Rohit yesterday, middle of the sentence, still R capital letter. He wanted to meet Rohit, end of the sentence, Rohit. Again, the first letter is capital letter. Now, you may ask, sir, this is an easy one. We all know this. But do remember, whenever I teach something, I don't teach just like that. I keep so many things in mind, your standards and exam point of view, exam approach. And I have been taking descriptive classes. When I take, listen very carefully, when I take descriptive classes, first I tell the students how to write an essay, how to write a letter. Then I give the assignment. I tell them to write about a particular city, and usually I give Hyderabad as an example. And when I have a look at the answers they write, I go and check at random. I see some students, they write Hyderabad H small letter. Imagine, imagine the same mistake. Someone makes the same mistake in the exam, and the person who corrects your paper definitely forms a low opinion, and it is not a good thing. Being a graduate, you can't afford to make a mistake like that. Keeping that in mind, this is like you all may be knowing, but still, there's nothing wrong in learning. So, what is the first rule? The first letter of a proper noun should be a capital letter, irrespective of its position in a sentence. This is rule number one. Yes, Rajshekhar, welcome to the session. Rule number two, proper noun, again related to proper noun. This is again very important, but here I'm going to touch one dimension. More dimensions, more rules. When I go to articles, I'll be teaching. Proper nouns in this context, names of countries, don't take articles. If you take the name of a country, India, any country for that matter, you should not use any article before the name of a country. Look at the three examples. Here, India is culturally rich country. India is a proper noun, name of a country, no article. He lives in France. France, again, proper noun, no article. They were in Australia last year. Australia, capital letter, and no article. But the problem with English, English has rules, English has exceptions. Now, this one goes with exceptions. Rule number three. Listen very carefully. This is what I tell students. Always keep it open. When it comes to English, don't have fixed ideas because any language is an ocean. So is English. If you have fixed ideas, you will get into trouble. What I suggest, learn the rules, learn the exceptions, read the sentence, understand the context, then you try to answer the question. Don't be hasty. Now, one rule you have got, what is it? Names of countries, you should not use any article. But rule number three talks about exceptions. Rule number three, exceptions to the article rule related to countries. And what are these exceptions? This is important from the exam point of view. The US is a very popular country. US, the US, we have used a definite article the. He has been to the UK. Again, article is there. She likes to visit the Netherlands. Netherlands, name of a country. I have used the Netherlands. These are all exceptions. The Irish Republic is a unique nation. Irish Republic, Ireland, we call it the Irish Republic. Again, a new example, the Ukraine, the UAE. These examples are important from the exam point of view. And do remember, they are not going to ask the US, the UK, but the Netherlands, important, the Irish Republic, important, the Ukraine, important. This is rule number three. Now, rule number 4, still with proper nouns. And this is something a lot of people don't know. And this has been touched many a time in competitive exams. What is this? A proper noun becomes a common noun when we place an article before it. You're not supposed to place any article, but if at all you place an article, a proper noun becomes a common noun, then there's no error. Have a look at the examples. I have brought two examples. Lakshman is a Milton of a university. Milton, name of a person, a writer. So the Milton, nothing wrong. Here Milton becomes, though it is a proper noun, it becomes a common noun. Sham is a Bernard Shaw of a group. G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw, name of a writer, Irish writer. I'll tell about him a few minutes, not more than a minute, important from language learning point of view. So what is the point here? When you see a question like this in the exam, don't think there is an error. Here we have used a proper noun as a common noun. When you use a proper noun as a common noun, you can use a definite article, the. Absolutely no problem. I hope you got it. Please respond. I hope you guys got all the four rules. This is the fourth rule. Have you got all the four rules? Say yes, no, something you have to say. First one goes with capital letter. Second one goes with names of countries, no article. Third one goes with exceptions, names of countries. We should use the definite article the. And fourth one, proper noun becomes a common noun when you use a definite article the. And nothing wrong with that. Fine. Thank you very much. Now let us go to this is all about the four rules I wanted to teach. And some students may think because this is a heterogeneous group, some are beginners, some are or they know a lot of rules, and some are really good at English grammar. But I have to strike a balance because it is a heterogeneous group. I take you guys in a systematic way. Today, four rules, don't think, oh, easy rules. Why should I attend? Usually it is like that. It goes with, sir, how come we will get clarity between rule 2 and 3? You have to learn. As I said, rule 2 goes with names of countries, no article, like India, China, any country for that matter, France. But exception, names of countries, we should use a definite article the. There are about 5 or 6 countries. Regular classes, we teach all, we give the examples. Even here, I have provided. You have to memorize those examples. The US, the UK, no one is going to ask. Everyone knows about those two countries. But exam point of view, the Netherlands, very important. The Ukraine, very important. A new example. The Irish Republic, they have given many a time. And also, it is something like the UAE. That is rather easy. Netherlands, Irish Republic, and Ukraine. These three you have to memorize. I hope you got it. Now let us go to questions from previous year's papers. Questions from previous year's papers are very useful when it comes to getting an idea about how the questions are asked in the exam. How do they ask the questions? You should wonder, you should think. And if you don't have any idea how they ask the questions in the exam, you're not ready for the exam. And how do you get an idea how they ask questions in the exam based on when you spend time on previous year's papers? This awareness, you develop some sort of awareness. This awareness will help in the long run and save your time while taking the exam. When you practice a lot of previous year's papers, questions from previous year's papers, definitely that will help in the long run. In the exam, many rules are they touch the same old rules. And when you see a question based on a particular rule, within no time you will be able to answer. So that way they're very important. Now let us go to how long has it taken? About 20 minutes, because today it is introductory session. Tomorrow it may not take so long. Only rules I'm going to bring and questions from previous year's papers. Now time for you guys to respond. I will give you a few seconds. Read question number 1. Try to locate the error. I will tell you then whether it is right or wrong. Please have a look at question number 1. He jumped thrice with full might. Here, might means power. and raise his arms towards the sky. Now, where is the error? Some students have responded. They say there is an error in the second part. Absolutely right. Here, now listen very carefully. Question may be easy, but if you listen to the analysis, explanation, that will help in the long run. And here, when you're explaining the rules, once revise the meanings of proper noun and common noun definition. That's a good question. Then what happens? That's why at the outset I said here there's a problem. When it comes to 200 rules, let us see, based on the feedback, I will decide. All of you listen for a few minutes. This is an important point to be discussed. I said 200 rules series. Today I have given four rules. Now I have given the rules with the assumption that you have the basic concepts. Imagine there is someone, he or she doesn't know what a proper noun is, what a common noun is, what a collective noun is. Then he or she cannot follow, cannot get the rule. That is the reason why I said all these rules with the assumption. You know the concepts, you have already learned the concepts. Only then you can follow. Then you may ask, so why not talk about the concept here? Then it becomes a regular class. If I talk about the concept, I give the definition of what a noun is, types of nouns, then proper noun, common noun, collective noun, all the definitions, examples. Then it becomes a regular class. We cannot do that. These sessions are based on only rules. Please understand that. Who is this Uday? I hope you got it. I hope the message is clear for others also. Fine. I'm glad a lot of students have got it right. He jumped thrice. So, what is a clue? Thank you, Uday, for your response. So, what is a clue for you here? It is jumped. The verb is in the past. And if the verb is in the past, first clause, obviously the context goes into the past. Then you cannot use a second verb in the second clause in present. Even that should be in the past. So, what is the answer? It is not raised, it should be raised. Now, listen very carefully. When it comes to questions, your first priority, try to get the answer. After that, ask yourself from this question, what else can I learn? What can I recollect? Now, when it comes to the verb raised, it's an important verb. And that's the reason why they have given, I suppose. There are two verbs. One is rise, the other one is raise. Now, please tell me what is the difference between, we'll make it interactive. What is the difference between rise and raise? I've told many a time, but now you should respond. What is the difference between rise and raise? Both are verbs, mind you. I will give you a few seconds. Rise, it talks about position, coming from low position to high position. It is an intransitive verb. No, raise is a transitive verb. Rise intransitive verb. Rise intransitive, it cannot take an object. Raise transitive, it can take an object. Raise your hands, raise the standards. One more difference, rise is an irregular verb. Rise, rose, risen. Raise is a regular verb. Raise, raised, raised. This you have to recollect. This is what I call smart learning. What is smart learning? Question, answer, no use at all, sheer waste of time. First get the answer, then ask yourself any word to be learnt or what is there to recollect. Try to look beyond. That will help in the long run. And this question is based on past context. Context is important here. Now, please go to what is the problem here? Question number two. Rise naturally, rise, the temperatures are rising, and you can use whatever it is. Read the second sentence and try to spot the error. What is Ajay Singh's problem? No, no, don't say that, Ajay Singh. This is a platform, and this session is only for the purpose of learning. And you have a choice, Ajay Singh. Please listen very carefully. Don't talk bad about anyone, bad about anything. If you're not happy with this session, leave the session. Very simple. You have the choice. You're not happy with an academy, that is your problem. You don't have to say that over here. This is not a platform to express your personal opinion. This is a platform to learn. And there are so many students who are very serious about their careers. They are here every evening, they come, they spend time with me to learn. Let us focus on learning. That's a request, and I hope you will respect that. Focus on learning, don't focus on other things. What are we doing here? I'm here to enrich your knowledge, and you're here for that purpose. Every second is yours, every second is precious. Use the time properly. That matters, yes. Now, where is the error? Both science and religion are necessary for man and for their outer and inner self, respectively. There is an error in the second part. What is the error? Here, the subject, it talks about man. Man, generally speaking, remember, it doesn't take any article. They have given in many exams. But man is considered general statement. Then we don't use the pronoun there. We should use his. Both science and religion are necessary for man and for his outer and inner self, respectively. Outer self, inner self, respectively. Oh, thank you very much. But still, don't let us not talk about all those things, Ajay Singh. I respect your opinion. Absolutely no problem. You have the right to express, but this is not the platform. Do remember, we are here to enrich, to learn together, and enjoy the session. Who has got this right? Man is considered singular. And in the past, please listen very carefully. I will tell you something interesting. Man is considered something like the entire mankind. And based on that, man is a social animal. In some exams they've given, the man is a social animal. Not correct. Before man, generally speaking, no article. Man is a social animal. Now, his feminist may question, so why not his or her? Today, modern English, they try to be careful, but standard English, man, his, these two go with each other. Man and for his outer and inner self, respectively. So, what is this question about? It is about pronouns. Always make a note what it is about. That will help in the long run. Now, let us go to question number three. And we'll see the scores at the back end of the session. I think I've brought about 20 questions. I will ask you have to respond. If I forget also, you please post your score. These are all questions from actual exam questions. Please, yes. Question number three. At certain seasons, some areas on Mars, here we are talking about areas. At certain seasons, that's a phrase. But what is the sentence about? It is about areas. Because it is about areas, which is plural, on Mars, again, a phrase not important, we cannot use a singular verb. Some areas are. So, what is this question about? It is about, always make a note. It is about subject verb agreement. Subject verb agreement. That you have to make a note. Let us go to question number four. As an artist, Raju is as good, if not better than Ramesh. Mention the question number that is better and try to give the option. Yes, subject is plural, verb has to be in the plural form. Perfect, Sonu Patel. Yes, Aman has got it right. And as an artist, Raju is as good as you're comparing. Then you have to use so as one expression, but generally we use as. So here, as as one as is missing. As an artist, Raju is as good as What is missing here? As is missing. Raju is as good as, if not better than Ramesh. And what is this question about? It is about comparison. Positive degree. Very good. Who is this? Uday Kumar. Positive degree. As good as. Good, better, best. Here it is positive. As tall as good as. Now let us go to question number 5. The scientist could not hardly complete all the experiments. So goes with negative expressions. This that's a very good question. Who is this? Nagaratna. What is the difference? All of you, please don't go to question number 5. Listen to me. Question number 4. One student wanted to know, sir, what is the difference between as, so as goes with affirmative sentences as well as negative sentences, but so as goes with negative sentences. This movie is not so good as that one. Is not, that's a negative sentence. So remember this way: affirmative you can use as, negative also you can use as, but negative sentences, only in negative sentences we use so as. I hope it's clear. Who is that? Nagaratna, I suppose. Now let us go to question number 5. Where is the error? Could hardly. You cannot say. The scientist could not, double negative, could not, negative expression, hardly a negative word. It is called double negative. Now, based on that, here we have to strike off one word. Which one is that? Not. Here, the scientists could hardly complete all the experiments. Means what? They could not. They could not complete. They could hardly complete. Means what? They could not complete. That is the meaning of the sentence. And this question is about what? Oh, double negative. It is about double negative. Double negative. Quite often in competitive exams, they ask questions related to double negative. Now let us go to question number 6. The reason for my absence is due to the ill health. Two negative words not correct in a sentence. Yes, Patel, you're right. And quite often they ask questions related to double negative. Now, question number 6, what is the answer? The reason for my absence is due to the ill health. This is a common error, and this also they have given in many exams. Yes, who is this? Ashwini says, uh, remove. Prithvi Raja says, remove. Yes. Here, the reason for my, what is the first word here? Reason. Already have used the word reason, then you cannot use due to. Then what is the correct sentence? The reason for my absence is my ill health, or my absence is ill health. You should not use due to the ill health. Or you want to be very specific. The reason for my absence is the ill health. The is not required actually. The reason for my absence is my ill health. Generally, that's what we say. This question is again unnecessary use of the words, redundancy. Thank you very much, Sonu Patel. I appreciate positive feedback. Anything negative also you could say, absolutely no problem. We'll try to improve. We always keep it open. Now let us go to question number 7. Due to ill health. Perfect, Rajesh. You're right. You're a very lovable person, but I'm not loving you. This is a bit strange. Thank you. So, what is the answer? Aman has responded. I don't love you. Again, after that, Aniket also. Very good. There are certain verbs. We use a word. There's a technical term for that. That is known as stative verbs. What are stative verbs? They talk about emotions. They talk about verbs related to senses. And these verbs related to emotions or senses, they don't take ing. We cannot use in the ing form. Based on that, here it is not I'm not loving you. It is I don't love you. And what are the verbs related to emotions and senses: hate, love, hear, see, smell, taste, all these. I hope you got the answer. I think many students have got it right. That's wonderful. So here we should not say I am not loving. You should say I don't. I don't love you. But don't say that to someone, not a good thing. Now let us go to question number 8. Where is the error? This is also an important one. Being a holiday, we went out for a picnic. Actually, we say went out for a picnic, went on a picnic. That is the right expression. Being, who is this? Nagamaleshwari. Yes, you are right. Anyone else? Question number 8. Aniket also says Shruti, it being Tirupati Rao. Yes, after that I see some more students, Pranita also. Here you cannot say being a holiday. Being a holiday, we went out. It means like we are holiday. That is practically impossible. Subject is missing. Here there are two clauses. For each clause, there's a different subject. What is the first clause? It being a holiday. And here we need the subject. Subject is missing. Based on that, you should say, it being a holiday, we, before being, we should use, I'll write here, it being a holiday. Then it is correct. Same subject, you don't have to. I'll give an example. It being a holiday, one idea, we went out for a picnic. We went out on a picnic, and this is right. But imagine the same subject. Here we have different subjects, same subject. Then you can use this ing form. I completed the work. Please listen very carefully. This is again important from the exam point of view. I completed the work. Then I went out. In both the sentences, the same subject. What is it? I. Then I can say, having completed the work, I went out. Having completed the work, I went out. This is right. Why is it right? Because it is the same subject. When the subject is the same, you can start with having or going or doing. But different subjects, you have to use the subject. That is very important. I'm glad a lot of students have got it right. Very good. Now let us go to question number 9. See, having found a piece of cheese, two cats went to a dog to divide it among them. Having completed the work, I went out. Perfect. Absolutely no problem. Same subject. Yes, Nagamaleshwari. It being a holiday, we went out to library to collect language related books to enrich our knowledge. Oh, wonderful. There's no error whatsoever. Rajshekhar, I appreciate. Now, where is the error? Question number 9. Easy one. But let me tell you something interesting. Here, I'm glad a lot of students could spot the error. Having found a piece of cheese, two cats went to a dog. It doesn't happen. Part of a story. To divide it, here, how many cats are we talking about? Two. When we talk about two things or two persons, we should use the preposition between. But they have used among. Among is not correct. It should be. Give me a second. I have to search for the stylus where it is. I got it. So you all know the answer. What is the answer here? It is among is not correct. It should be between. Now listen very carefully. In one particular session, 500 students, a similar question. Out of 500, only 40 could spot the error. And the context, he wanted to be among, between the stars, something like that. Stars, millions. We cannot use the word between. It has to be among. So sometimes what happens, easy questions also, if you don't look at the sentence meticulously, you don't read meticulously, carefully, then you cannot spot the error. I'm glad a lot of students have got it right. It is about prepositions. A piece of cheese, a piece of information, a piece of advice. Yes, Rajshekhar, you're right. I'm going to talk about that. Let me tell you, thanks, Aman. Some students, they think two persons always between, or two things always between, more than two among. Exception is there. If you are talking about three different universities, universities more or less the same thing, common. Then you can use more than two, also you can use between. She could not decide between the Harvard University, the Cambridge University, the Princeton University. This sentence is right. You may ask why. Three universities, but they belong to the same category. Then more than two also, you can use the word between. Do remember that. Not testing. The new dish that I ordered is tasting good. Again, taste we cannot use in the ing form. Based on that, where is the error? It is not tasting. The new dish that I ordered doesn't taste good or tastes good. Doesn't taste good or tastes good. Here it is positive. The new dish that I ordered tastes good. Here you cannot say is tasting. Tastes good. It should be in present. Question number 11. Increasing racism and hate crimes casted a shadow over elections. This is an important question. You may ask, sir, why is it important? It goes with common errors. Third part is wrong. Which question are you talking about, Sonu Patel? Tasting is not correct. Tastes. This dish tastes good. It tastes perfect. And here, one more thing you have to remember, dish has got two different meanings. One meaning, it goes with food, lunch, dinner, special dish. Another meaning, the word dish means vessels. In the kitchen, after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, we have to wash the dishes. That dish is a noun. This dish is also a noun. Where is the error? It is not casted, it is only cast. But what is the spelling of cast in this context? It is only CAST. No E over here. Cast. Increasing racism and hate crimes cast a shadow over elections. CAST, no E. That is different. Good grammar book. Who is this? Usha. I always tell students today there's so many grammar books you can get in the market. You go to a shop, ask for a good grammar book, he or she will show 10 or 15 grammar books, and surprisingly, with grammar spelling on the cover page, they have been selling books. But do remember, the best book when it comes to grammar, Wren and Martin. Wren and Martin, high school grammar. But mind you, it is more academic approach, but very good source for reference. You should have a Wren and Martin for reference, and you have to buy the guides available in the market. I don't recommend that. Wren and Martin, enough. Then you listen to a good master, learn everything. That should be. And other books available in the market, you have Bakshi, Object to English, you have Kiran Publications, you have Arihant Publications. So many are there. But these guides, here and there, you come across errors. You got to be careful. But when it comes to Wren and Martin, whatever is there, no one can question. That's a standard book. You should have Wren and Martin. And a lot of students have answered it is cast, and you have to recollect related words broadcast, telecast, and forecast. Who is this? Lavanya has answered. She has written all those. Very good. They have the same form. The BBC telecasted a program last night. Wrong. The BBC telecast a program, an interesting program last night. So remember telecast, broadcast, cast, no ed, same form, all the three. Like cut, cut, cut. Yes, I know that. You have to wait for some more time. I hope you got it. And this is about a verb forms. Now let us go to, we are running out of time. We have only 16 minutes. Question number 12. I have got your letter yesterday and felt very happy to learn of your recovery. Where is the error? Who is this? Nimisha. Good evening. A little late. What time is it? Quarter past 8. About to close. No problem. Better late than never. Have been expended. Oh, I think you can watch later. Yes, I have got or I got. Here you cannot use present perfect tense. I have got your letter. That is present perfect. And the time is there in the past. That's a wrong combination. It goes with common errors. Never ever use present perfect with independent time in past. Wrong combination. A lot of people say, I've seen my manager yesterday. Absolutely wrong. I've seen my manager. Stop. That is right. I saw my manager yesterday. That is also right. So here we should not use have. I got your letter yesterday and felt very happy to learn of your recovery. So this goes with tenses, past tense. Let us go to question number 13. The teacher advised to the student to borrow a book from the library within 3 days. I saw my manager yesterday, that is correct. I've seen my manager, not correct. But if you use a today, this week, this month, time is incomplete, then you can use present perfect tense. I saw my manager yesterday, that is right, absolutely. No problem, Nimisha. I'm glad you are here. We should be happy. Better late than never. I appreciate all the students who are here. You're spending 60 minutes with me. The idea is to get enriched. And you should be happy, I should be happy. Where is the error? There's a common error, easy one. Here, the teacher advised the student. You don't have to use the preposition to, not required. Redundancy. Someone has written, so here to should not be there. The teacher advised the student to borrow something. Don't use to. Again, make a note. It is about, oh, okay. That is interesting. They are very broad minded, and we should appreciate those people for allowing you to watch at the workplace. Now, answer question number 14. I insisted on his going there immediately. I insisted on his going there immediately. This is an important question. Let us see how many of you are going to get it right. I don't know how many students are there, about 100. Let's see how many of you are going to get it right. No one has got it right. That is a bit surprising. And that is the reason why, precisely, many competitive exams, they have given questions based on this particular thing. I will wait for some more seconds. No one has got it right. I'm really surprised, taken aback. Answer, no error. Please respect the last option. What is the last option? No error. Now you may ask, listen very carefully. Sir, can we say his going? His is a possessive pronoun. Now here we have the verb in the ing form that is used as a noun. Means what? Gerund. When you use a gerund, if you have to use a pronoun, possessive pronoun, or a pronoun before a gerund, then it should be in the possessive form. His going. Now listen very carefully. I will give one example. A lot of people say, please excuse me coming late. Wrong. I will repeat. Please excuse me coming late. Absolutely wrong. Please excuse my coming late. That is right. My coming late. Possessive pronoun, but it changes to possessive adjective. Who is this? Kiran Kumar. Absolutely right. I appreciate that. Basically, these are pronouns, but in the sentence, they change to possessive adjectives. But here still we use the word pronoun, possessive pronoun. And he's going. Now imagine you go to some place and you say, please excuse my coming late. I'm damn sure they will laugh at you. They will think you're not good at English. But that is a right expression. Don't say, please excuse me coming late. Wrong. Please excuse my coming late. How come? That is English we cannot question. Now let us go to question number 15. Again, an important one. We have 10 minutes and we have five questions. So let us, six questions. Let us do very fast. We have been knowing each other since we were children. Yes, if I use English all the time, you will be exposed to the language, the words, the phrases that will help in the long run. Here again, you cannot use the verb know in ing form. That is not correct. And we have known each other. What is the correct expression? We have known each other. I will write here. We have known each other since we were children. Since after that, the clause should be in the past. Since we were children. Nothing wrong with that. But here you cannot use it in ing form. We have known each other, that is in present perfect. Which tense is that? Present perfect tense. Now, question number 16. This is an important question. Many students may not know the rule that goes with this particular question. No problem, absolutely no problem. Don't feel bad about that. Be happy you're able to attend a little late also. Nothing to worry. But do go through the session after, later, and try to learn. Every session, there's so much to learn to get enriched. Neither of the teams are sensible or is sensible. Pranita has already answered, Shruti and Ashwani, a lot of students. I think Prithvi Raja, Aniket, all these. Very good. I appreciate that. And I must have missed a few names. Please don't feel bad. A lot of students are responding, not easy to read out all the names. Neither. Now listen to me very carefully. Either or, neither nor. These are conjunctions. But if you take only either, neither, these are distributive pronouns. In English, we have three distributive pronouns, each, either, neither. And there's a rule that goes with distributive pronouns. What is that rule? They always take a singular verb. Either of the books is acceptable. Neither of the students has come. Neither of the teams is sensible. This is an important one. Now let us go to question number 17. Tell me where the error is. But I would like to tell you guys, please make a note. The question is about what? Previous question, it is about distributive pronouns. That is very important. When you revise, that will help in the long run. Who is this Nagamaleshwari? Yes, she has written neither, each, either, plus, of, plus, plural noun, singular verb. Absolutely right. Now let us go to when one hears of the incident about the plane crash, he feels very sorry. Not they. This is an important question. Let us see. Let us wait for a few minutes. Seconds, not minutes. We can't afford to wait for a few minutes, only a few seconds. No one has got it right. That's again surprising. Who is this? Nimisha says CTET. One, yes, that's right. Very good. When one hears, now what is the subject here? Let me go to the subject here. One. The word one is an indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronouns, typical examples none, one, someone, somebody, no one, nobody, everyone, everybody. Now, two are very important from the exam point of view. One is none, the other one is one. One, when you use one as a subject in the same clause or another clause in the sentence, you should use either one or once. Usually, people use a personal pronoun or a possessive pronoun, not correct. So, based on that, here, he is a personal pronoun that is not correct. It should be one. I would like to give one more example. One should always remember, people say, first, what people say. One should always remember his responsibility. Wrong. One should always remember one's responsibility. Then it is correct. One's responsibility. This is an important question. And this is about indefinite pronoun. Now let us go to question number 18. One should not neglect one's duty. Yes, very good example. This is also a bit confusing. First, you read the sentence. Where is the error? One should always respect one's parents. One should always respect one's elders. But there should be apostrophe. Apostrophe should be there. Do remember. Now, there's an error. Who is this? Krishna says, first part. Yes, that's right, Rajshekhar. And after that, I see a lot of students. Ruchita says one, Durga Bhavani also says one, Sheikh Rasul one. Yes. What is the error? This is not an easy one. Now we have two verbs which go with confusing verbs, which come under confusing verbs. So, lie, lay. Lie is a noun, lie is a verb. It's a regular verb, it's an irregular verb. As a noun, no problem. As a regular verb, no problem. Lie, lied, lied. But as an irregular verb, there's a problem. Lie, lay, laying. As an irregular verb, it has two meanings. One meaning to be in the horizontal position while relaxing. The other meaning to be in a particular state for a long time. This context goes with the second meaning. And there's another verb, lay, laid, laid, means to put something down. That goes with babies, things, foundation stone, rules, regulations, all these things. In this context, it is lie, lay, laying. Based on that, there's an error in the first part. It is not laid, it should be Lain, laying. And remember, lie, lay, laying. Question is about confusing verbs. Now, please go to question number 19. The students were awaiting for the arrival of the chief guest. Easy to make out. Had been lying. No, here we use, let me see the sentence. It had laid, not correct. It had lain in the closet for a week before we found it. Why past perfect? The conjunction before. That means two actions. First one past perfect, second one past tense. It happens, it's quite natural. So waiting for is correct, awaiting the arrival is correct. Here we should not use the word for. The preposition for is not correct. Waiting for is correct and awaiting without for is correct. What is the correct sentence? The students were awaiting the arrival, or the students were waiting for the arrival. Either way, it is correct. Now let us go to the last question. Question number 20. Henry asked his wife, what had she prepared for dinner that night? Waiting for awaiting, important. No difference meaning wise, one and the same. Who is this? Prithvi Raja. Meaning wise, there is no difference. I'm waiting for the master. I'm waiting for the results. I'm awaiting the results. Meaning wise, no difference whatsoever. Sentence patterns are different. Henry asked his wife, this goes with direct speech and indirect speech. Question. What is the reporting verb here? Henry asked. The moment you see the word asked, you should tell yourself this is related to indirect speech, questions. Common error that goes with questions in indirect speech. A lot of people use in indirect speech interrogative form. That is not correct. It should be in affirmative form. Based on that, what is the correct sentence? Henry asked his wife what she had prepared. What had she prepared? Not correct. What she had prepared. I'll write here what she had prepared. She had prepared, that is affirmative form. We should not use the interrogative form. He asked, what was I doing? A common error. Wrong. He asked me what I was doing. I was doing affirmative. What was I doing? Interrogative. Interrogative not correct. It's a common error. They have given in many exams. That's all for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed the session, got enriched. I would like to have the feedback this session. Have you got enriched and happy with the rules? Easy rules initially, but slowly things become rather difficult. and try to enjoy the session, try to get enriched. And if you want to give the feedback, whatever it is, positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Please do give the feedback. And if there's something to improve, we'll always do that. That's very good. Who is this? Nagaratna. 14 out of 20. Please tell me how many you have got. We'll come to know your standards. Ankush, my pleasure. Thank you very much. Who has got all the 20 correct? Then you're ready to teach English. Has anyone got all the 20 correct? Thank you, Aman. Thank you. Thank you very much. 16 is pretty good. Aniket, Nagamaleshwari, and 10, 10. We have done 20 questions. 16, pretty good. Thank you very much. Who is this? Rajshekhar. 18. Oh, Aman has got 18 out of 20. Highest, the highest so far. Others, nothing to worry. And if possible, include rule after every question, sir. I will do it because I'm not able to write. There's a problem with the stylus. I'll try to present the answer, the correct expression, and the related rule. We'll do that. But we have to do very fast in that case. 4 out of 5, late, no problem. That's all for today. Good night to all of you, and I will see you tomorrow again, 7:30 sharp. Same session in the evening, every day. 4 rules and questions from previous year's papers.